We're about to turn this into this. Stay tuned for Floored.tv. Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is Levi Lane, sports flooring consultant and contractor. Now I've been in the professional commercial sports flooring business for over 20 years. I've done everything from basic hardwood floors in homes all the way to professional commercial portable floors for professional NBA teams. I've also personally installed more than 1.5 million square feet of flooring in varying systems within that 20-year period. Everything from the basic installation from the ground up to the sand, finish, striping, to the logos, to the finish coats, to the base. I can also diagnose any issues that you might be having with your current sports floor if it's not performing up to its full potential. Feel free to leave me a message on this YouTube channel if you'd like to contact me, and I hope you enjoy the video. We've arrived at our destination in Spring Creek, Nevada, near Elko, to install a 10,000 square foot basketball floor. With our plywood delivery scheduled to be delivered within the next few hours of nearly 10 bunks, we first need to find a safe location to get the bunks into the gym. We found these doors on the north side of the gymnasium, which give us clear access. There's no obstructions or crews working in the area. And from a side view, you can see that we have plenty of space to get the bunks, which are 4x8, into the building. Always make sure to check your overhead obstructions just in case they interfere with the forklifts. In this case, we should be just fine. Here's a view facing south. Just make sure that there's no traffic or heavy machinery. Here's a view facing north. And we've decided we're going to place the plywood in this area, right here over my shoulder. Now that we have a plan in place for the delivery of the plywood, we're going to take a few minutes to unload all of the other equipment and the supplies that we will need for the installation of the hardwood, and of course a safe place to park out of the way of all the heavy machinery passing by on the job site. Now the flooring that we will be installing on this particular job is made by Connor Sports. I've installed over 500,000 square feet of their products in my career, and this is some really good stuff. As you can clearly see, here on the left side of the material there's a groove, and here on the right side there is a tongue. Now this particular material is made out of northern hard maple. It's 2¼ inches wide and it's random length. This batch is second and better. Now these bunks have been in this building climatizing or acclimating for about 2.5 to 3 weeks, which is very important. It always makes me laugh how somehow our hardwood ends up being the job site storage area for random materials like you can see here. Now I've said it time and time again, the most important aspect to any sports floor is the crew who installs it. Second to that is the pad system. These pads are made by Connor Sports and they're known as the NEO-SHOK. These are some really great pads. The pads are what gives the basketball floor its sponginess or its playability, its reflectivity to the ball and to the sport being played on its surface. These are about 3/4 of an inch in total height. Now, if you're going to install one of these systems, do not skimp on this. Invest your money in the pad. We install one of these per square foot of the total area of the floor. When you're installing these pads, you want to make sure to use a good, reliable staple by a reliable brand. You don't want to skimp on this. It makes your job much easier. These particular staples are about 1/2 inch long and 1/4 inch crown. They look just like this. These staples are the best, and it's what we prefer to use. Now that we're still waiting on our plywood, I'm going to walk around the gym and do a preliminary inspection just to make sure that there's no issues with us starting the installation. One thing you need to do is walk around the entire perimeter of the gym. Do you see this ledge right here? Right there. That's protruding out and will keep our base from sitting on the floor properly. It'll have to be fixed. You also want to check out in the stage and the slab depression, as you can see here, to make sure it sits at the same height that the floor will be. You also want to make sure that the volleyball holes are in place so that we can install the standards and that they're in the proper location where they're supposed to be. You don't want to fix this afterwards. You also want to check to make sure the scoreboards are in place. All of the lights are installed and finished. You want to check to make sure the HVAC is in place and has been painted. Both the cold air returns and the registers. And you can see facing the stage, there's a vent cover right about here that needs to be put on in place because you can't drive lifts on the floor once it's completed. And another thing you need to check is that if there's a dividing curtain in the gym, make sure it's installed properly and it's in place. And one of the most important things that you need to check is to make sure that the basketball hoops are completed. I've also taken a moment to push this wood back, which will open up this area here, which is now broom swept and ready for vapor barrier. This is where we're going to start the floor. Plus it opens up an area for us to place the plywood, which has finally arrived. Today we'll be using a forklift with 8-foot forks that allows us to actually slide under the bunks the long way, as you can see here. This is a huge advantage for us as we don't have to haul them into the building one by one. Then we simply bring them around to the door that we chose, as you can see here, and then we just simply lift them through the door and pallet jack them into place.
Good. Have it go in more so you have more room to clear. Good. You're going to want to come up a little. Good. Oh, this one doesn't have to be. I don't think it matters. Yeah, it's not going to matter.
Oh yeah. Then at this point we just use the pallet jack to strategically move the bunks of plywood around and place them where we need them. At this point we're setting them in a location that makes pad installation easy for us, which is the next stage. Installing the pads is pretty simple. First we create a pattern which gives us 1 pad per square foot, like this. Then we just spread out the pads and we staple them down to the sheet of plywood. It's a pretty simple process, as you can see here. People have a lot of different ways of doing this. Now we start the process of actually building the subfloor. The very bottom layer is the layer with the pads on them, the 4x8 sheets that go straight across wall to wall. Then we put an additional layer at a 45-degree angle on top of that, starting from one corner to the next. Then we add what's called solid blocking from the first 4 feet from the wall, which is to help support the bleachers, working out to about the halfway point, as you can see. By adding a 45-degree angle, this actually increases the strength of the floor, plus it keeps the joints from becoming what we call common or going in the same direction. As you can see, we continue this process until we get across the floor. This is laying on top of a 6mm vapor barrier which protects the subfloor and the rest of the floor from moisture that seeps out of the concrete over time. Now for this system, which is 2 layers of 1/2-inch plywood stapled together, we use a 7/16 crown by 1-inch staple. Now these staples have some incredible hold, And these floors can stand the test of time, 30, 40, even 50 years if they're installed properly. So the staples that you put into the floor are very, very important. At this point, we've got the subfloor over the halfway mark, so we're going to snap a chalk line so that we can put our first raw hardwood down and continue the process, which we will get back into in the second video. But all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, so it wouldn't be nearly as fun on the road working if you didn't get to deal with Levi and his shenanigans. This is us having some fun in the casino after work. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. This is going to be the first of 4 videos in this series. There's just way too much to pack into one video, so I've decided to split it into 4. But I really appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for the second episode, which will be coming out very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.